Sometimes you gotta sing a song for the little babies in the world. And you gotta sing a song for the little babies in the world. Because the little bitty babies need a little singing 'cause they're sad face. Meow, 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 'cause they're sad face. And the meow, meow, and the meow, meow. Little baby. It's a little bitty baby in the whole wide world. It's a baby. And a lot of people gonna be mad when they click on this video. And this is the beginning. Where's the button? I can't see the button. What's up, everybody? Oh, it's just another manic Monday. Oh, whoa. Wish it was Sunday. Or maybe like Saturday. Whoa. That's more fun than Monday. Woo! What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's a Monday, and all you lovely people showing up on a beautiful Monday. How you doing? Good to see you. Bright and shiny faces. Who was first to the chat today? Bentley Pascu. Bentley, good to see you, brother. Hope to have you on the show here sooner than later. You know what I mean? Let's get you down here one of these days. You know, I guess he's probably waiting for the new studio to get built. Did anybody see that terrible video I posted yesterday of the studio progress? It's progressing, yo. Y'all, it's progressing, y'all, which is good. I'm glad to say that it's progressing. Things are happening. Largemouth bass coming in number 2. Rexina 13 was actually 3, but thought she was 4. Oh, wait. I don't know if that's a she. Sorry. Thought you were 4th, but you were 3rd. Alyssa was 4th. 5th? 6th? Fish Tank Barn, Dom 1024, It's Nature Man. Jake D is here. Big D Smoke has shown up. Oh, there we go. Oh, no. Now there's a whole lot of different names to try and read. Oh, no. Daryl Deemer, John Gonzalez, Stephen Law, Gershon, Chirish, Friedrich Binerfelt. What's up, Friedrich? How you doing? Smeal Kapoor is here. Tyler Clinkscales, good to see you. I'm seeing a bunch of green names here in the chat. If you guys don't know what that's all about, if you don't know what the green names are all about in the live chat, if you happen to be in the live chat, I think they show up green, right? I think they show up green in the live chat. They show up green on my live chat, so I'm assuming they show up green on your live chat. I don't know. Otherwise, you could see like Bob Dobbs. If you're like Daryl Deemer, you've got that's Solid Snake. That's Snake Plissken. If you got a Snake Plissken after your name, you're like OG. You're OG right now. If you're Bob Dobbs, you're like you're there. If you got a Green Arrow, you're new. So, you know, that's what those are all about is if you hit that join button, and I have to say I have to like open up another thing. Like I have to open up like a separate screen to find out who's a member, who's not. What's the progress report on the membership action? And I don't know. I don't know if we should get any more members because I feel like the 13-year-old in me is having a laugh that we have 69 members. I'm almost 40 and I'll still get a chuckle every once in a while at goofy stuff like that. You know, like when my new baby farts in my face. That makes me laugh too. It's hilarious. I think like when a little 5-month-old baby girl peanut baby farts at me. I just laugh. I laugh every time. But yeah, we're happy to say we're up to 69 members. We were at 70, but somebody dropped out. I don't know who. It doesn't tell me who dropped out. You know. But I want to say mad props to all you guys, and I also want to say mad props to everybody over at Patreon who is helping to support this channel, the produced videos that we make, the live streams that we do here. We got, you know, I checked earlier. It said 283 people, which we're down. That means we're down from the 300 that we were at. But hey, I cannot express my gratitude between memberships and patronizers and stuff like that. I can't express it enough. It's amazing, and hopefully we keep growing because we do have some new projects on the horizon that I think are going to be pretty big time. One of them is I'm in the works right now of trying to set up what has been dubbed by Stephen Pope. He came up with, he didn't invent the name of it, but he came up with like, hey, this sounds like a Makerspace, which is pretty much what I'm currently trying to put together, which means a public space that will have like, a lot of fish tanks in it and stuff like that. They'll be able to film, if other YouTubers come to town, if other people come, like Big D Smoke, he's local. He's a local guy. Maybe he wanted to come down and had some questions about some specific plants or something like that. We could even just post up, make a little video about that, like his actual questions, like showing him how to do it, that kind of stuff. I just want to make a more public space. And, we found some stuff that is sort of affordable. It's probably something that could happen. I get the feeling, and a lot of people have expressed that, like, they don't know how this thing is going to be profitable. They don't know how well everything's going to go. You know what? No one knows how well anything's going to go. But as far as, I do have a little bit of a production budget that I work off of to do stuff. And obviously I'd be, dumping a lot of my own, blood, sweat, tears, money, all that kind of stuff into it. And I think it's something that, even if it doesn't ever turn a profit, which that's not really my goal. My goal isn't really to turn a profit. My goal is to really expand on, just the hobby, all of the elements that go into the hobby. How many people are confused about plumbing and, what's a sump? What's a hang-on back filter? What's a canister filter? What do I do with my canister filter? All that kind of stuff. And we have a ton of things going on YouTube with a ton of awesome creators on here that are making videos about stuff and things like that. And I feel like one of the things that's really missing is something that isn't just a one-off convention type situation. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? There doesn't seem to be a focal point in the United States. There doesn't seem to be a focal point of whether it be, even if I think about, reef aquariums, salt aquariums, any of that kind of stuff. There are a lot of local aquariums that specialize in like teaching kids and stuff like that, which is fantastic. I think that's awesome. Those are all government funded, mostly some kind of taxpayer situation. And, I think that those are awesome. And I think that those will continue on. Right. But I'm not sure that any of those have any kind of focus towards hobbyists and people that are actually, aquaculturing small things in their, in their house. Like you got a 40-gallon aquarium and you want to make it a centerpiece. You want it to be something that is more than just SpongeBob SquarePants and some pink gravel and some fish that just aren't even that healthy, which is common. It's very common. A lot of people have that setup. I mean, I started out with a setup like that when I was a kid. I had the goldfish in a bowl. I didn't know that that's not good. That's not a good deal. And that fish just kept getting replaced and replaced and replaced. I was a little kid, so I didn't really have much say in it, and I didn't really know anything about it. But I feel like people like me that are in between the age of 20 and 80, and we're going like, yeah, I also want a healthy system, but I also want, something that's more involved than just somebody like me specifically going like, here's my fancy setup. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons that I do this show. I feel like, I feel like the show would benefit from the possibility of people being able to come on. I think I would probably try to do one of this sort of podcast sort of deal. And like this sort of podcast setup, like probably one day a week there, and maybe it would be open to the public. I don't know how any of this stuff is really going to work out, but that's the kind of brainchild that I'm on right now. I've been looking at some small retail spaces and stuff like that could be affordable. It's that kind of thing where, it might be something that's like $1,500 a month. It might be like $2,000 a month, plus operating costs and all that kind of nonsense. But, if you start to think about it, it's really like, I don't think that there's a huge barrier in regards to that. Like, you guys know that I'm building my studio downstairs. I've had some people comment on it and stuff and go like, well, I'm not really sure why you're doing it this way. I'm not really sure why you're doing it that way. And the reason is it's a shoestring budget. I'm spending the least amount of money possible to do this whole entire build out downstairs. I do all the labor, the purchasing, the construction, all that stuff. So I think, that it would be more along those lines where it's like, we're going to build this thing out. We're going to go and buy a bunch of drywall, and we're going to hang up the drywall, and we're going to do that, and and I know that there's a lot of people in the area that will definitely help out with the labor and those kinds of things to get things built out, and that kind of stuff will come together, and I believe it will help build more of a community. I think that's one of the downsides that we see from a lot of the creator space, especially on YouTube and whatnot, is that almost everybody is just sort of alienated and kind of by themselves. There are a few little groups of people here and there, and as you guys know, I associate with a lot of other YouTubers and things when I can, but it's hard for everybody's schedules to work out, and geographically, everybody lives far away and all that kind of stuff. So, I just think, and maybe this will also be a brainchild that could spring up in other places. I wouldn't expect anybody to like fly up from Florida to come hang out at the Makerspace or whatever. Now, if somebody did, that would be cool. That would definitely be cool, right? Like, awesome. But it would also be cool if somebody started up a Makerspace down in Florida, or one in Texas, or one in California, or one in New York, or Boston, or Minneapolis, or whatever, you know what I mean? So it would definitely be a thing. Hopefully. Could be a thing. But I don't know. I got on that whole sidebar because I just wanted to talk about that. But people have asked me, like, which one is best if you wanted to support this kind of project? Hey, y'all could do super chats. Y'all could do the join button. Y'all could just watch videos. Y'all could go to Patreon. You can do whatever you like. I like the join button and Patreon personally. I like super chats. Thanks, man. Thanks, Kitchen Aquatics, with the $2 super chat. I appreciate that for sure. I feel like the join button is like a month-long super chat that only costs $5 because it sort of highlights you like all month. You know what I mean? It makes your name green. You end up with avatars. You get extra, that kind of thing. Brian P says, I don't get why it's only his videos. Frowny McFrowny. I don't know what he's talking about. Let's see. Devin Peppers says, yes, just wait for him to get into the video section. Yeah, this is kind of a long format show, so we're here, and we're definitely going to be answering questions and stuff as we go along. And I do read the chat. Let's see. Are guppies like puppies and need wormed? Are all guppies like puppies and need wormed? Not necessarily. I would say more often than not, if I was to generalize a fish needing to be wormed, it wouldn't be like a type of fish. It's normally the source. And I know that sounds bad, but it just really is. A lot of wholesalers are pretty in the United States. Okay, let me get that straight, because the wholesalers that we went to in Europe are completely different than the ones in the U.S. The ones in Europe, highly focused, highly paying attention to exactly what's going on, making sure that everything is super healthy. But there are some wholesalers in the U.S. that just really don't have that quality. So, if I bring in a fish from like an unknown wholesaler or whatnot, even if you end up, you might live somewhere. You might live where, what's the word? You might live somewhere where there's like only a Petco or something like that, and it's like the only place that you can go, and you're like, it's not the best. I know, like, I don't know. I wouldn't stress out about that too much. The one place I would never buy anything is Walmart. Just that place is a personal affront to everything I believe in, especially even as an American. Like that place is whatever. But their fish are terrible almost all the time, and I constantly hear horror stories where people are like, "I saved this fish from Walmart," and it's like you encourage them to buy more by giving them money. So please stop doing that. I know that it hurts the heart, to be like, man, that beta was at Walmart and it's probably going to die there. I get it. I don't know what else to do other than to take money away from Walmart, though, to stop having. They should not have fish stuff there. They don't even have anybody. They don't even really have anybody there to take care of the animals and stuff that they have. It's ridiculous. Boston, Maine Mike says, please do a how-to trick out your trigger sump for freshwater. You're in luck, man. And you got thank you for the $5 super chat. You're in luck because I legit have my desk filled with the stuff of how I tricked out my trigger sump. So, and we're going to go through that. We're going to definitely get to that. Like, I've got some other stuff here that I've been doing. I've been testing, and I wanted to get to it on a live stream because a lot of people that really support this show come out to the live stream. I'll make a dedicated short video at some point in time of like, here's how to rock your sump super quick, for all the super mega, the super mega like YouTube people that have a very short attention span. I will happily do that at some point in time. Cool. I feel like I'm one of the old guys because I'm like, I constantly have a podcast or something that goes in depth playing or just music. I'll either just have music or, it's like with air quotes, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. Like I'll turn my phone on and I'll just hit play like on YouTube, and then I turn the screen off because I have the YouTube Premium or whatever, so you don't have to play the screen. It'll just keep playing the audio, and it'll just like play videos, and I'll just listen to what's going on in the background. Like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of B-roll in my days of like fancy mountains and stuff like that. Like, I just literally want to hear what's the information. So I feel like I'm one of the old guys, and we'll definitely get in depth into this stuff, and I'm going to show you here, and I should have links to everything. The one thing that's a little bit difficult to get is the filter pad, but that's an Amazon thing, so it's super easy to order. It just the guys that ship it out, like, they ship it ground, so you can like almost literally watch it like slowly come across the country. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, now it's in Illinois. Okay, let's see where it's at tomorrow. Ooh, it's in North Dakota. And then it like slowly checks into every state as it comes across. But I buy it in 24 feet at a time. So I buy it in the big rolls, and then I just cut it into everything that any filtration thing I want it to fit in. I'll just mark it out, cut it, and make it that way. Saves me a lot of money in the long run, So let's see. Brian P's holding a gun to his head. I don't know why. What's going on with Brian P? What's happening here? Nebraska, no connection, playback ID. Oh, no. Oh, so he's having problems actually watching the live stream. Live stream through mobile browser, okay. Live stream through your YouTube app, no connection. Oh, no. Oh, I hate to hear that. I don't know what's going on. If you're having troubles with the live stream, I know that YouTube is doing a ton of changes right now because they're trying to implement their new... So for those of you who don't know, YouTube has this control panel that you go into that you can do everything from. And they have decided, for whatever reason, to completely recreate that. And to tell you like how big of a task that is, they started a year and a half ago or something like that. And it was supposed to be completely released the 1st of this year. And it's April 8th right now. So the billions of dollars that Google has, they still are not done with it. It doesn't work. And it's a monumental task is what I'm saying. It's just insane, like how crazy it is. It's Nature Man says the Walmart fish rack here is a death zone. I've tried to do something to no avail yet. Oh yeah, so to backtrack on what I was talking about there, if I get fish from a wholesaler, it's sort of unknown fish, I will put them through the med trio, you know, the Icax, the dewormer, the deparasite. What am I thinking here? I don't know. I'm spacing out, but the Med Trio, I literally use the Med Trio from Aquarium Co-op, so it's like whatever they have. I'm not that great with medications, honestly, because I almost always will like mix the names up. Like Maricin confuses me. And then it's like erythromycin, the medical stuff. That's why I'm not a doctor. I would accidentally prescribe somebody something crazy, and you know, I'd be like, "Oh no, that was good." But yeah, so the Med Trio, the Maricin, General Cure, and Icax. I was forgetting. Icax is the one that I really have to worry about here with my water and stuff. So that's obviously the one that's like right in the forefront of my brain. I rarely ever, if ever at all, have parasites or anything to deal with. So it is super rare, and I literally am like, oh yeah, what do I use for that? Oh, that's weird. Why am I even dealing with that? As I almost always get my fish, I pretty much never really get my fish from an unknown source. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got some fish. What did I get from Alyssa? Oh, I got some snails from Alyssa just a little while ago, and a guppy and stuff. You know, so that's, you know, we got healthy fish. So there's not really that much work to do with them. You know, I trust Alyssa. She's had them under observation for that whole amount of time. Same kind of deal with the pufferfish I got them from Preston, and, you know, dude is on the ball with his fish. So it's like I more look to where's a really good source to get really healthy fish that have been taken really good care of, than instead of, you know, focusing on medicating. But I do certainly, if I get some kind of parasite or something going on, then I will get into that. You know, I realistically have to start looking through my notes and everything. Otherwise I get a little bit jumbled in my head, and just I have to remember, like, how much do I dose with this, bro? You know, I'm certainly not perfect. I wish I was. That would be sweet. I'd be doing, like, winning karate tournaments and being a brain surgeon or something. Rocket surgeon. I think that's what I would go for. You know, rocket surgeon over anything else. That would be the jammy. But let me log in here and get a link just so you guys know. So you guys, first off, if you are looking for meds, the Med Trio is pretty much going to handle it from Aquarium Co-op. That one it's currently sold out, but I'm sure that's not going to last for very long. I think you can buy. Oh yeah, the individual ones are not sold out right now. And Aquarium Co-op is our affiliate sponsor, so heads up to anybody if you are using links and going through and buying stuff. It does, you know, it's a referral, man. It's a referral. I would refer you to a better place if one existed. Legit. Okay, lights. What am I in here? I'm in the wrong thing. Hold on a second. There we go. Oh, we got a new member. Now we're up to 70. Robert the Butcher. All right, man. All right. We got past that old tricky number, and now we can move on ever forward and forget I ever even discussed it. Right? The Fancy Tail Aquatics got diseases from Petco, and that was the last time I bought from a big box 5 years ago. Oh, hi, Joel. If you don't know, that's me. I'm Joel. That's my real name. Kitchen Aquatics, Walmart fish are equal to carnival fish. Yeah, it's up there. It's not good. Jessica Taylor says, are these shows in podcast format? Yes. If you go to Podbean, Alvin Alejo and Dan Squires post those up there. But I haven't seen those guys in a little while, so I don't know. And I never really checked all that much. Tyler Clinkscale says, honest to God, I wish my finances were better in order so that I could super chat one question every stream, but if I ever hit the lottery, I'm coming in for that 15,000 Patreon spot. Tyler's talking about that's the maximum that you could patronize over on Patreon. It's a once a month thing on Patreon too, so I think like that's why, you know, when the membership thing came up, it was like, oh, you could do the membership, which is a once a month charge. The Patreon's like a once a month charge. I feel like it's legit, you know what I mean? Like, cause you know, it's just like a once a month thing, and then you get the perks of being like, yeah, I'm a part of this group trying to do a thing here, you know. And I wish I'd won the lottery, because I would already have a makerspace open. I would already have a public space open where you'd just be rocking out doing fun stuff all the time. I mean, I don't know if we'd be like hard rocking, you know what I'm saying? I will save that for my own private time to listen to the crazy music that I listen to, which is fine. It doesn't hurt my feels, you know, that people are like, oh my God, this music is crazy. Do you have any doo-wop? And I'll be like, yes, we shall bop bop doo-wop, you know. And then we bust into that stuff. But I want to get to the video. Oh my God, have I been yammering on for 25 minutes? Sorry guys. I apologize. We shall change the scene here to scene 4. We got a little background action here. Let me make this I'm going to make me a little bit bigger, because I do have some stuff I'm going to be holding up, and then you guys will be able to check it out a little easier. All right. As you guys know, aquarium filtration is super confusing to a lot of people. I don't think that it needs to be super confusing, but I pretty regularly get, you know, messages and comments and things like that from people that there is a little bit of confusion of what's going on. I think there's a lot of people out there that aren't familiar with the nitrogen cycle, how that works. You know, when you hear people say, is your tank cycled? And then some people just go like, yeah, of course. And maybe they don't know what somebody's talking about. When they say, is your tank cycled? What they're talking about is the nitrogen cycle, which is ammonia gets released into your aquarium. Now, this comes from a lot of sources, but for today, we're just going to talk about fish waste, fish food, you know, particulates and things like that end up in your tank. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me while I burp. But waste starts out as ammonia. That's basically the beginning. Oh, come on, little peanut baby. I'm trying to move my daughter here. There we go. So that we have a little more show-off product space, right? Oh, let me say thank you to a couple of people while I find the links here. Jessica Thiegartner with a $2 super chat. Divorce debt loan approved. New tank coming soon. Man, I props to you guys. I've never been through a official divorce. I have been in some long-term relationships that ended in some serious debt, if you know what I'm talking about. Some pain, some anguish, some sadness. So hats off to you if things are on the up and up. If they aren't on the up and up, just stay the course, stay calm. Just keep working through it. It will work itself out. So, you know, it will be okay. And the fish tank barn with a $5 super chat and Makerspace Fund working on changes to the fish barn. I would fly out to the Makerspaces. I believe you. I believe that the fish tank barn would 100% fly out. You know, for sure. Now, let's get back to what we were talking about, because I can make sure that I actually have the links here for you. Paste, generate. Okay, so this is the first link that I will pass on to you guys. If you already have water test kits and you know what water test kits are and you are familiar with that, there you go. That's a link for water test kits over at the Aquarium Co-op. You can go look at some of them there. I personally, now, I'm not going to try and start a crazy debate about test strips versus liquid kits versus this versus that. I personally use liquid test kits on purpose because I find them to be much more uniform versus the test strips. That's just my experience. I ain't mad at anybody if you want to use test strips. It's all good. It's all good, baby. You know what I mean? It's all good, baby. Don't worry about it. If you guys want to use test strips and that's the thing that you like to do, okay. I use liquid test kits. I get much more accurate results for me when I use liquid kits. I'm more in control of knowing what's happening, knowing what's going on, and I get a better result knowing what's happening when I use liquid test kits. So there's liquid test kits right there. The ones that I use personally is the freshwater master test kit. I occasionally use the phosphate kit, very rarely, but the other test kit that I use is the GH and KH. So I use the master test kit with the GH and KH test. There are some parts of the master test kit that I don't really use, and that portion would be the nitrite. The nitrite I sort of just like, and the high range pH. The pH test kits, I don't really care. But the main thing that I'm looking for is ammonia and nitrate. I do nitrite sometimes, but I'm just going to be real honest with you guys when I say I don't test for nitrite that much, because I know that if I have ammonia, it's going to be transitioning into nitrate. That's just kind of how it goes. So to get back a little bit on the cycle that I was talking about, the ammonia is the waste in your aquarium, in pretty much in any waterway. It's going to start out as ammonia. Then you're going to be trying to promote bacteria that breaks down the ammonia into what? Nitrite. Then, once it's broken down from nitrite, it breaks down into nitrate. Now, how do we promote that? How do we promote the bacterial growth? Once we have our test kits in play and we're going, oh man, I've got ammonia showing up, I've got nitrite showing up, I don't have any nitrate yet. What's going on here? And you're like, I've just got a bucket of water. What's happening? Well, we want to start to populate bacteria. Now, that bacteria will show up whether you like it or not. It's just going to take a long time. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to take a long time unless you can promote it quickly on your own. Now, there is a bunch of stuff on the planet that they're like, hey, I'm selling bacteria in a bottle, blah, 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 whatever. I don't do that. What I do is I get myself one of these. Now, when I say I get myself one of these, I normally get myself a whole entire case of these right here. Now, you can see this is just a nylon bag with a zipper on the top, right? And it's got these little wonky rings inside here. Now, this is just a sintered glass. It's basically ceramic that's blown up in a kiln. They leave a little hole in the middle just for, water flow and stuff. It's just a porous material in which is uniform in design. It's been cooked, all that kind of stuff. It's not going to have anything weird on it. It's not going to leach anything weird because they know what went in it. And these are super cheap. This is super effective. This is super easy to use. It works fine. Now, there are other types of biomedia on the market. If you want to spend your hard-earned money on things to grow bacteria on them and to essentially get dirty and gross, feel free. I haven't seen any kind of tests out there, any kind of actual scientific breakdown of, these 100 tanks versus these 100 tanks all treated the same way. What's the bacteria level? Then people are actually taking the bacteria off to grow a culture in a petri dish to find out what was actually growing on. You see what I'm saying? You don't see that. You don't see many. I mean, I know that there are studies, but you don't see the ones where it's like, oh, we have to test this one versus the other one, and then the other one and the other one. And mainly because it's super cost prohibitive. And one of the big problems is if most of those companies did do that test, they're not going to give you the results, because then guess what? People would start to question the results. Like, well, how did you do this? How did you do that? How did you do this? What's going on here? What's the deal with this? And And they just don't have time to even explain any of that to anybody. And even if you wanted to know, they wouldn't give it to you. Now, this biomedia that I got right here, I ordered off of Amazon, but oops, what did I do here? Yeah, I got it. Hold on, I'll make a link. And paste and generate. Whoop, there we go. Okay, so the media that I'm holding in my hand right here, I ordered off of Amazon. There's a link right there to Aquarium Co-op. It's the exact same stuff. I can get you guys an Amazon link if that's what you need. But most of this stuff is made in giant factories in China, and the reason for that is because this is like the main biological filtration component that is utilized in China. And I had somebody recently who was kind of debating with me a little bit on the benefits of other biomedias and this and that and the other thing. And the deal is this. All of the Chinese guys that I have dealt with that came from China and run fish markets here, as you guys know, I used to go and repair a lot of the stuff at almost, well, not all, but a lot of the fish markets in Western Washington. I used to install and repair a lot of the systems there as far as sanitation goes and whatnot. Now, I used to go and be able to go to those behind the scenes and test and see what's going on and actually, pick the brains of some of the guys that are running these giant systems with no plants, no real water changes to speak of, and giant fish, giant water volumes, but a ton of fish that are only just producing waste, and see what's going on in these systems, see what's happening, see what their experience is. And the reality is a lot of those guys are like, yeah, I've been using this for I don't know how long. Like they would be like 30 years or something. I don't know. I don't even know how long they've been using it. And that's essentially what they utilize. And I just went like, oh, wow. And then I started doing a bunch of research into like all the gimmick biomedias out there. There's a lot of them, and I'm not going to name names because I always just get a flood of emails from either the company or some people that are big fans of stuff. That none of the real science is actually like released. Like you can't find it. They claim that they've done it, but then you're like, okay, well, where's the study? And they're like, oh, well, we have that, And like, okay. So I look at it this way. If there's 1.2 billion people in China, and let's say that they only have, or they have a much higher percentage that have aquariums in their homes and stuff like that, or around. And let's say that that's 5%, right? Let's say 5% of China has an aquarium around them. That's 60 million aquariums running, right? That's a pretty wild number when you start to get down to it, and like they're all pretty much using that. They're all having good success. Then I'm just like, all right, if somebody actually does a study and actually releases it, I will be happy to look over that paperwork and stuff like that. But in the meantime, I'm just going to take the opinion of somebody that's way more experienced than I am, that their whole entire livelihood is based on it. You're talking about how many fish are coming in and out of those systems, and they are taking care of them and selling them off as food. So not only are they just surviving well enough to be in those systems, they're surviving well enough so that people can consume them. So it's even kind of technically even higher grade of kind of a system, because you can't just be selling off sick, disgusting, gross, dead fish to people to eat. You know what I mean? So, and there's a lot more follow-up there. In the United States, there's virtually zero follow-up on fish stores and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But there's testing and following up and stuff where people eat. So there's at least health inspectors coming through to see what's going on, and they'll give a quick recommendation to I forget the group, the body that comes in to check on like live food and stuff like that. But there's a group that can come out and they can really let you know and shut a place down if they're selling food that's no good. Now, it'll take me just a second. I got to grab the link here. Okay, so let me kind of round out my thought here a little bit. So that's a bit of a biomedia breakdown. I buy a bunch of those bags, and I use a ton of them constantly. Now, if we get back to the thought of the bucket of water and we're trying to produce some bacteria, we're going to produce the bacteria whether we like it or not. If we have a bucket of water with a little bit of ammonia in it, it will eventually cycle itself out. It just will. It'll probably take about 2 months. The times that I've done 0 startup to fully cycled, it took, I think, about 50 days, 50 days to get to, this thing is actually eating ammonia now. It's actually taking in ammonia and turning it into something that is not threatening to life. And it will eventually happen. You can even just do it in a bucket with some gravel in there and has something to just kind of circulate the water just for fun. If you really want to, you can. But one of the big reasons I buy those biorings is for the reason I explained before, that there's a lot of people testing whether or not that works. They all feel like it works. I, from my own experience, know it works. And there doesn't seem to be a big reason to like fight against that and go like, oh, I'm going to spend a whole bunch more money and grow bacteria on something, right? Well, I lost my thought. My train of thought just went right off the tracks. Oh, no. But yeah, so let's say I take that bucket and I take these rings. These are completely dry. If I take these completely dry ones and I go put these in my sump with a fish tank that is already cycled, and I take a bag adjacent to it that's been sitting in there for 6 months or something like that, if I take that out and put it in that bucket, how quickly do you think it will cycle in comparison to the 50-day dry start test? In my experience, it's about 24 hours. I'm sure it's probably happening quicker than that, but it takes about 24 hours for me to sort out that it actually is cycled and will eat up ammonia. It'll actually take the ammonia and turn it into nitrite, then it'll turn into nitrate, and you realize, oh, ammonia is down to 0 now. But I have done it times before where I took that out, put that in, and then had to put fish in right away. Because of emergency type situations. I've had tanks crack, I've had tanks blow out, I've had all sorts of nonsense happen. One got broken because somebody was climbing around like an idiot. Yeah, it was me. Like a dingleberry. I was climbing around and I broke a bulkhead right out the back. But with utilizing those biorings, I'm able to cycle a tank like that. It's pretty much not that big of a deal. As we were talking about before, you wanted to get medications on your fish and stuff like that. I've posted a video talking about the quarantine tank, and people have asked a question like, how do you cycle this quarantine tank if it's completely empty? My quarantine tank right now is sitting outside. I cleaned it, and I just left it sitting outside on its side. There's nothing in it. There's nothing in the filter. There's nothing in there right now. It's completely bone dry, nothing in it. Quarantine tank is just sitting there on my patio, on its side, doing nothing. And when it comes time to quarantine something, if I do get a fish or some shrimp or something like that I need to quarantine, I can take that. I can take one of those bags of biomedia out of one of my cycled aquariums, right? I can put that into the hang-on back. Oh, I lost my chat. Where did my chat go? There we go. I can take that, those biorings, put that into the into a hang-on back filter that I have that's all dry and clean right now. So there's nothing, there's no parasites or bacteria, bad bacteria or ick or any of that kind of stuff. It's completely dry and clean, sterilized. And I can take that filter media from one of my cycled healthy aquariums, put that into the hang-on back, put it on, fill up that tank, boom, I got a cycled aquarium, right? So that's really like one of the big things too, is that if you are going to treat that med trio, right, because you got some new fish that came in the mail, you don't know where they came from, you don't know how they've been treated, that kind of stuff. You're like, I don't know, man, I just finally found this fish and somebody had 6 of them for sale and I ordered them up and I got them sent here and they just landed and I got to put them in a tank, but I don't want to put them in my tank because they might have a crazy parasite, or they might already have ick or something. You do want to quarantine stuff before it's going into your tanks, and that's how you do that. That's how you can walk through those steps of having a completely dry, sanitized tank, filter, all that stuff. Same with the heater. It's all dry. It's all just sitting there, and I'm able to set up that quarantine tank, have it ready to go. Like if somebody randomly sent me fish and they landed today just on my door, like, what is this? A box of fish? Huh? I would be able to deal with it. I'd have somewhere to put them, to get them treated, get them in some ick-ax and whatnot, and get them ready and get them acclimated and stuff and get them ready to go in and get them under observation period for the next couple weeks before I put them into my big display tank, and, potentially take nothing from that and put it into my display tank, you know what I mean? And not get my display tank sick. Let's see here. I want to catch up with the chat a little bit because I've been rambling on like a maniac. Big D Smoke, one of my change containers has a sponge filter in it, and the other one has nothing. Yes. So that is another thing that does work well, is that you can take a sponge filter like this that has just been running in a tank and move it to a brand new tank, and it'll cycle the tank pretty quickly. It's covered in bacteria. You'd probably want that thing running in there for a little while. You don't want to just put it in there for 5 minutes and then be like, yeah, it's cool now. You want to leave it running there for a while. And yes, a sponge will do that. As we move on to the next two components here in just a second, do plats affect pH or hardness? I don't know what plats are. Jerry's saying, how do you feel about the heat treatment for ick? I have done it before, and it does work. So you can do salt and heat. What the heat does is the heat actually speeds up. It essentially accelerates the life cycle of ick, right? And one of the goofy things about ick is that you can't kill it while it's in its parasitic mode, right? So when it's like on your fish, that's not when you're going to be able to kill it. But when it releases itself and becomes free floating so that it can go spawn, basically, that's the opportunity to kill it. So when you increase that heat, the temperature in the tank, you're basically just speeding up the life cycle. You're speeding up the life cycle of ick itself, and you'll get to its free floating form faster. So it's just one of those things that you're going to have to go through that life cycle of the ick a couple of times in order to, when they're all free floating and stuff, that's when you're going to be able to kill them off. So as long as you have the ick-ax in there the whole time, that works. You can also do salt, but it's almost kind of harebrained trying to just do the salt. I did that quite a long time ago when I think my 210 had ick. I had a 210 that was just like a full display Planet Aquarium, and it had ick in it, and I had to treat the whole entire tank, and it was a nightmare. I'll tell you that. It was just like stress city. I took that thing up to like 97, I think is where I had it. Not great. Not a great deal. I will say that I wish I had one of these when I was doing that. And I don't know if you guys have seen these. They've been all over the internet from Aquarium Co-op. Corey has had these just all over the place. I think I saw a video from Zenzo. I think I saw a video from the Fish Tank Barn. I've seen a Primetime Aquatics. I've seen a ton of videos that have popped up that people are talking about the Sist filter. And realistically, when Corey brought this in, I was like, yeah, it's a K1. It's a K1 media housing. And I've been testing it out. One of the other ones I got, this one's brand new. I'm just taking it out of the box. It's going to go into one of my tanks. And the reason I'm saying it's going to go into one of my tanks is because I've been testing them out, and they're working damn fine. So it's basically a K1 media housing, and somebody like me who's kind of been around the block as far as sumps and stuff goes, I've been around K1 a lot, and that's basically what this thing is. Holds the K1 media in it, tumbles it around, and it's air driven, so it actually just runs off of an air pump. And one of the reasons this is so effective, K1, the way that it operates, and because it's tumbling and you're using air to do it, it's highly oxygenated. And that's the type of biological filtration, the biomedia, the bacteria that we're trying to grow. That's the bacteria that we as humans, as people, as operators, that's what we need to promote. We need to promote oxygenated bacteria. Anaerobic bacteria doesn't require oxygen in order to produce and eat and munch and do all of those things. Don't ever worry about anaerobic bacteria. You want to worry about aerobic bacteria. Aerobic bacteria that operates off of oxygen in order to utilize its process to munch, produce, right? Now, the reasons for that is anaerobic bacteria not utilizing oxygen. What are you going to do? What are you going to do as a person to try and promote an oxygen-free environment in order for this to go? You can promote that, and I think a lot of people kind of get sidebarred on anaerobic bacteria because they hear about it a lot because of your septic system. If you understand how your septic system works, you know, you go poop in the toilet, you flush the toilet, goes down, gets caught in the septic system. Now, you can promote that. You can promote anaerobic bacteria in that system, and it's quite beneficial. You can buy the little bottles, dump it in to help your septic system, you know, do better. But the reason that that works is your septic tank is more often than not a big giant cinder block underground that's holding a bunch of waste inside of it. There's no light. There's no air getting in there. You're going to be letting in a bunch of air into your septic system. Because guess what? The air that comes out, that's going to be that doo-doo air. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's that really bad doo-doo air. So a septic system is different than our aquariums, but I think where people get kind of sidebarred is that you hear about anaerobic bacteria quite a bit because of septic systems and doing what you're trying to do on a regular basis. Now, anaerobic bacteria, we don't need to do anything to promote its growth because it just will be. It's an extremophile. You know, it's an extremophile that we don't need to promote. We don't need to promote that growth because it just will exist. Philip M. says a lot of anaerobic bacteria get rid of NO3 by producing NH3. Laughing my ass off. Lamau. Yes, anaerobic bacteria does a great job of doing stuff. As people, we don't need to promote that growth because it's an extremophile and it will exist in the amount that it can exist. You know, unless you want to black out your tank, completely seal it off, and try and reduce oxygen levels. I mean, that doesn't seem like a great idea when you have fish and things that require oxygen to survive. You know, a lot of people are concerned about CO2 poisoning, gassing off your tank, where you could just add a little bit of aeration into the tank and not have to worry about your CO2, you know, killing anything in your tank. I personally have never gassed off anything in my tank. I think one time when I was doing yeast CO2 back in the day, the DIY yeast CO2, you feed it sugar, basically making beer. Yeah, I've done that. It got close. Everybody's swimming up at the top. The easy remedy for that, added in an air stone. Voila. Brought the O2 back up. The reason this works really well for me at this point, I'm getting all of my systems on a full-time siphon. So not only, you know, I used to use Dursos and, you know, I used to use Durso drains, which actually bring in a lot of oxygen as from the display tank up above, it drops down into the sump down below. There's a lot of oxygen, a lot of air getting mixed in as it goes down. So it's oxygenating all the time. Problem with that is it's a little bit noisy. The noise didn't bother me before, mainly because I didn't do as much I didn't do as much filming where I'm actually talking in the fish room. I normally just voiced over everything. So I had to figure out what I was doing in order to be able to talk directly to a camera in the fish room and it not just have this crazy bad audio. So I went, you know what? I should probably switch over to being animal style drains in my aquarium. So I've been slowly incorporating those, but that means that I do need to add oxygenation somewhere. Well, these little Sist filters have come in perfectly. They're perfect because they fit right in the first chamber of my sump. So that very first chamber where the pipe comes down in, and then in the trigger system sump, the pipe comes down, and then there's like this little wall. It'll pop over into this first little chamber back there where they want you to put this. This is this filter pad that I buy in bulk. I don't put it there. The main reason I don't put it there, put the Sist filter right there. That is adding oxygenation and more aerobic bacteria from basically the K1 filtration that is tumbling around in there. And it's working like a charm. I have to say I'm pretty happy. It's quiet, which was the main thing. I got that steady siphon and I've got the oxygenation going in there that's keeping my cycle going, and it's really helping break down anything down into nitrate that my plants uptake. My plants uptake nitrate. I recently got a message from somebody. I don't necessarily want to say who it is, but they were wondering, because I haven't heard back from them, but they were wondering that they're getting mixed reports from people about whether or not plants uptake ammonia or nitrite or nitrate. And the reality is plants will uptake ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate. And plants will uptake all of them. Here's the problem. Ammonia and nitrite are toxic to most of the things that we have in our aquarium. So if the levels of those start to go up, we get death. We get dead discus. We get dead rummy nose tetras. We get dead bamboo shrimp. We get dead crystal shrimp. We get dead whatever. That's not good. That's not good when we're running a little ecosystem here. If we end up with a bunch of dead stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not good. That's not a good deal. That's a bad deal for everybody involved. If a plant dies, I'm unhappy, right? If a bunch of critters die, I'm very unhappy. I'm very sad. It very much sucks. I don't want the little critters that rely on me to take care of them to just be at fault for having murdered them. It's no good. That's not a good deal. So, like I said, plants will uptake ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate, but nitrate is much less, what's the word here? It's much less toxic to almost every critter that's in our aquariums. You could get a crazy high level. I think you could get to like, I forget where toxic level is for nitrate. I think it's like 280 or 300 or 400 parts per million. You got to get way up there. You got to be up in the off the test charts. You got to be off the charts in nitrate to get things to be poisoned. It's just way simpler to just monitor nitrate and figure out where you're at and be like, whoa, I'm at 120. I'm going to do a quick water change. Whereas ammonia, you get a high level of ammonia, you just get a bunch of dead stuff, and then guess what? You're in a cascading effect of there being a bunch of dead stuff. Now you get more ammonia compounds. Disaster. And that's normally what happens, is that you have a system like that that gets too much ammonia in it, it kills something, then the ammonia compounds, and then it's just a snowball effect of madness, and then it's like, oh no, my fish tank died. Yeah. So we want to stay out of that as much as possible and be, proactive as much as possible as people. We're the ambassadors of the tank. We're the, it's weird to say God because it just feels creepy, but we're essentially the God of this system, which is why I also don't rely on critters to eat algae also. I talk to people about that a lot. People want to know what algae eaters I use, and I have stuff that eats algae, sure, but I do not rely on them to do any of the algae cleaning. That's my job. That's this guy right here. I want to promote my system, to either not grow a bunch of algae and then just clean my glass and stuff. Do a little water change here and there. And I want to make it as simple as possible, but I also don't want to, defer the work that I could do easily I don't want to outsource it to something that doesn't even know it's their job now, like a mono shrimp. Like the mono shrimp don't know it's suddenly their job to be cleaning all of the algae off the glass, you know what I mean? So let me pop over here and get to, I gotta find my orders, and then we're waiting on the barn door. We're still waiting on the barn door hardware. It's coming. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but, okay. Let's see. Let's copy this link. So here's the last link of the day. I'm going to pop this in here in case any of you guys want to run over and buy a whole bunch of it from Amazon. Feel free. It's all good. If you don't, that's all good too. Always use the link if you're going to go buy a bunch of stuff at Amazon, though, because Amazon ain't paying nobody for advertising except for people like me. You got to go through some kind of link. Otherwise, they just don't pay any advertisers. But this is literally the one that I buy right here. It's called Puro Clean Guard Pond and Aquarium Filter Media. So it's 24 inches by 72 inches. It's a pack of 2 that are 12 feet total. So each roll is 6 feet, 24 inches wide. As you can see here, this is completely cut down, right? So the ones that I normally buy is 12 inches wide by 12 feet long. So I think that's why I said 24 feet earlier. But I've started buying the 24-inch wide one because I actually just can cut it. This isn't 24 inches, but you get what I'm saying. I can cut it along-wise, the 24-inch. Then I get a 24-inch piece. Then I can just trim the end off or whatever, and I actually end up using way less of this and have way less little pieces left over. But what's cool about this stuff, like not only does it have so one side is fine material and one side is thick, bigger, larger material, whatever. I'm never really concerned about that. This will just grab all of the particulate out of your water, basically. And eventually it does get clogged up and gross, and you have to change it out. If anybody's thinking about the environment, this stuff will eventually break down. So I'm not super concerned about that, but you could burn it if you want or whatever. I don't know. Do whatever you want with it. Get rid of it. But the cool thing about all the little cutoff pieces, so all those little tiny strips and stuff like that, I use that to clean my aquarium. Those are little cleaner pads. I use those all the time. I use all those little cut-off ends and pieces and stuff like that. I just throw them in one of my bins, and when it comes time to clean my tank, I just grab one of those, clean that off, wring it out, and put it into my my breakdown bin. I have a bin, and then I don't have to take one to other tanks or anything like that, which I'm not super concerned about cross-contaminating out of my tanks because they're all healthy, and I think the only downside is like accidentally bringing over string algae or something like that. If I do that, like if I have hair algae in one of the tanks, like, crap, and then I end up over there. We got a super chat here I should grab from Caroline Epler. It says, "Hey Joel, thanks for all the great info. Got a bunch of rasboras today, plus I think one random neon tetra. That will happen." 100%. You get rasboras. If you get a lot of rasboras, there's a good chance there'll be a sneaky rummy nose in there or whatever. As you guys can see, like, this is the bamboo shrimp tank, and it's got some rummy nose in it. I've been netting rummy nose for what feels like an eternity, and you'll have heard it here today first. If you guys are excited, the 240 is getting remodeled. It's getting a remodel. It's on. It's coming. It is happening. It's currently happening. I'm currently tired because of the remodel of the 240 is ongoing. Don't worry, there'll be videos and stuff, so don't get stressed out. Is not sure what he is, as he is teeny tiny. I think I need to get him some neon buddies. I would hold off on getting any other fish, especially if you've just gotten fish and you're going to quarantine these ones, you're going to have to quarantine the next fish you get. I would hold off if he's and now that I've read the sentence that he's not sure what he is, he's teeny tiny. I just let him grow out. Let him grow out and see what happens. I mean, chances are a neon will probably just hang around with the rasboras and be like, "Hey, this is my pack." You know, it'd be like having like if a stray dog like joined up with some coyotes or, heaven forbid, wolves. It'd be like a stray dog joined up with a pack of dogs. It'll be fine, I would think. The feeding isn't that different. Water parameters, are fine. It's kind of the same situation for neons or rasboras, so I think I would just leave them, see what happens. And if it grows out into a completely different type of fish, then maybe, I don't know, figure something out at that point. But right now, I'd just stay and see how they do. Plus, it would be cool if you had like 100 rasboras all schooling around with one goofy neon that was in there like, hey guys. It'd be the one that you could name. That too. You could be like, oh, that's Frank. He's weird. First one to the party. All right. Where are we at? So we got to the filter media. We got the Sist filter. Whoa! I knocked it over. I'm knocking over things on my desk. My desk is overpopulated right now. I gotta fix that. Vicky's gonna kill me. My office is a mess. It's out of control. So we got through that. We got to the biomedia. We got to the filter material. And we got to the Sist filter. That's basically what I'm running right now. Those three things that's it. They're really just, you don't need that much other. You need biological media, particulate filtration. There ain't much else to do. You're going to just grow some bacteria and do what you're going to do. And that's pretty much the thing. If you're oxygenating, already with a bunch of, air stones, you're going to be probably fine. You probably wouldn't need this. I don't want air stones in my display tanks. Air stones drive me nuts in display tanks. I can't stand it. I don't like the look. I don't like what's going on there. And, I just wouldn't be that worried about it, personally. Let's see. Somebody was asking, what is my favorite footprint? Where did that go? Oh, man, I'd like to give you credit for asking the question. Where did it go? Oh, Nathan Kotas was asking, what's your favorite standard glass aquarium size footprint? The 120. 100%. 100% the 120. 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot. It's 4 foot front, side to side, 2 foot tall, 2 foot front to back. 100%. That's my favorite tank size. If you're talking about like under smaller tanks, the 20 long is my favorite tank. If you're talking about just small tanks, though I do have some new little Pico aquariums I'm working on, which they're not standard. So I guess maybe if I was staying in the standard size, on the smaller end, I would go with the 20 long for sure, all day. But just a bunch of those, just a ton of those, everywhere. Just a million of them all over the place, and go nuts. Bob S. says, water chem is a confusing subject. I don't understand water hardness and ion exchange resins. How does exchanging Ca ions for Na ions soften H2O, TDS? The quick and dirty with that would be, here's the easiest way to explain it for a freshwater tank. RODI is reverse osmosis deionization. So the deionization portion is actually, and I don't want to get this wrong because I'm going to get torn apart, but I can show you guys. Hold on, let me double check before I say something completely dumb.
So the resin that I use is actually this one right here. So I can actually get you a link. So I can copy. This is the actual resin I use right here. It's like nuclear grade, which is kind of dumb or whatever. But I don't want to sound. I don't want to be completely wrong. Opaque cartridge allows easy detection. Yellow, then tan, then white. I honestly think, this just wasn't something I was thinking about today. I'm trying to remember. I don't know. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I'm gonna be completely wrong. So let's just take whatever I'm about to talk about with a grain of salt. It's essentially positive ions, negative ion exchange. And what resin is going to do, and I can't remember if it's positive to negative, negative to positive off the top of my head, mainly because I'm super tired. I haven't gotten a lot of sleep. I got a new baby, and I'm kind of dumb too. So let's take all those things into consideration right here. As water passes through the resin, the positive ions, negative ions are going to attract and detract from each other and create a bond. Let's see. So the cation exchange is typically negatively charged at the substrate. And in this case, the resin would be the substrate. So it's going to be attaching, so the positive floating ions are going to attach to the negative charge of the substrate. There. I think that's right. I'm trying to go through my brain files right now and trying to remember exact off the top of my head. But yeah, so the positive ion charge in the water with an ion will have a positive charge, will attach to a negative charge, and then not be released as the water continues on. So that's basically how it's going to work. What you're going to do as a typical hobbyist like myself, you're going to get a TDS meter, which the TDS meter is like $12 or something stupid like that. Here's a super duper fancy one for $53. Should I recommend you guys to get the super fancy one or the one that I use? I should recommend you guys to get the one that I use because I know that it works. Here it is. It is $12.99, and if you apply whatever coupon is on here on Amazon, you get some money off, I guess. 5% off? I don't know. But here's a link to the TDS meter I use on a regular basis. Feel free to order a different one if you like. That's completely up to you. The filtered water that you're bringing out, you're basically looking for a TDS of 0. TDS stands for total dissolved solids, right? Total dissolved solids only is going to give you a conductivity measurement. Now, water is pretty terrible at conducting electricity. It just is not a good conductor of electricity. Metals, arsenic, ammonia, whatever, is better at conducting electricity than water is. So what the TDS meter is doing, it's reading the conductivity of your water. So it's not going to tell you what is exactly in your water. It's going to DC pump. I want to find the DC pumps that I order because I noticed David was asking about that. And, we all want to be supportive of using Amazon affiliate links, right? Isn't that how that goes? Oh my God! Here's the cool one. Although that one's not on Amazon Prime. But this will get you... David, this will get you on the right track here. So here's a link. Paste. Those are the return pumps I use right there. The Jabao DC pump. This is the newer version. The DCQ. Oh, no, that's the DCQ, which is the older. I think that's the older one. Where is it? Current makes one that is pretty cool too. This one is nice also. Copy. And paste. Same brands. I just use smaller ones sometimes. So where was I at? Yes, conductivity of water and how TDS meters work. They won't tell you what's in the water, but they will tell you if nothing is in the water. Now, if you're trying to bring your GH, your KH, any of that kind of stuff up, you want to use something that you know is what it is supposed to be, right? So you want to make sure that you're utilizing stuff that is what you want it to be. You can bring the TDS up to a certain point because of the additive that you're adding in, right? That you know that your TDS was 0 or 5 or 10 or whatever. And then you add in, like, let's say you're adding GH and KH like a crystal shrimp salty additive, right? You're adding that in, and you know that your target is 120 TDS or 50 or whatever. You're adding that in, and then you're testing the water after the fact, and you go, oh, my TDS is at 85. That's my target, and there it is now. And now I know I started with 0, and I brought that water up to exactly where I want it to be, and it has in it what I want to put in it. For me, my TDS here in my water that comes out of the tap is like 25. It's not a lot. It's only going to affect my reef if I don't filter my water ahead of time before mixing my reef water. It's only going to affect that. It doesn't affect my my freshwater tanks at all. It's, as a matter of fact, it's beneficial because it's just new clean water going in. But I do boost my water up a little bit with things like Wonder Shell. Occasionally I'll add a little bag of crushed coral and stuff like that, which I'll show you in a sump video coming up here fairly soon. That does show the Sist filter working. You know, I talk about the biomedia and that kind of stuff again. You know, but I want to talk to you guys at length so we have this opportunity to talk about it. I'm probably going to get mass dislikes today, but you know, it is what it is. Let's see. Phillips is asking any controversial canister opinions. No, I don't. Personally, I don't care, man. If people like canisters, I think they're a stupid waste of money. But other than that, if you guys like them and you want to use them, go for it. I would take the biomedia out, and I wouldn't buy the cut to pads. I would do the exact same thing that I do now if I had a canister. That's how I used to run the old canister filters I used to have. I got rid of them because sumps are way more modular. I find them to be better. The water volume is much more, and they work better, you know, just in my opinion, for me. A sump might be a disaster for you. I don't know. So, let's see. David says, cool, ordered my 120, building a sump and stand now. High-tech planet display tank. That's dope, dude. I love to hear that. I really hope to do this Makerspace, man. I'm not even kidding with you guys. Like, I really hope to do it. I think what I'm going to end up doing, if I do this Makerspace, I'll probably take the 120s out. I'll probably take the 120s out of my fish room and put those in there as a start. And I might just consider building it out to fit 120s. So, like, maybe we'll start with 2 tanks, and maybe somebody else will want to put a tank in there or something. And, you know, I can just straight up get Jason to make more of them so that they're exactly the same and they all match and that kind of stuff. I don't know. But I'm kind of zazzed about whether or not this might happen. I don't know. I got to go look at some more spaces because I don't know yet. I don't know. We'll see what happens. What size pump for a 120 with a 40-gallon sump? Buy the biggest one. Well, sorry, 3,100 gallons is a lot. Like the current one is 1,050. I would probably go with the 1,900-gallon one because with all pumps, almost every pump, the water pump on your car, I mean, every pump you want to oversize so that the pump doesn't have to be a full go, you know. And the cool thing about the DC pumps is they're fully adjustable from the controller, so you can just like dial it like up and down, plus and minus. So super easy. You know, you can be like, oh, maybe it's going a little bit slow. I want more. And you just push the button. You know what I mean? So it does make it fairly simple to operate. The DC uses less electricity to move more water. So it's just more effective in my mind than the AC pumps. You know, Bob's asking, my tap water is 250 TDS. Is that bad? It's not necessarily bad. You know, you have to filter it down if you're trying to do some specific things. But if chances are you probably have limestone and stuff like that around you, so you probably just have good hardness to your water, which means it's pretty nice. There's a lot of plants like styrogine that will do really well in your water. Most African plants will do really well, like anubias and stuff like that. Guppies will do awesome. You know, just higher hardness type stuff. Not a problem. And if you want to get into the more like some other stuff that wants delicate water, you just have to filter it ahead. I realistically would prefer to have higher TDS and just filter water down to nothing, but that's probably just because I'm used to having water with nothing in it. I would guess that if I like lived in Oklahoma for a couple years, I'd be like, man, I want to go back to having nothing in my water. So could just be perspective more than anything. Randy Hightower says, what do you recommend for water polishing? We have a 40 that would look just a tick nicer if there was less tiny particulates floating around. Right here. The cheap roll of polishing pad. This is all I use. This is it. I don't use anything else to get particulate out of my fresh water tanks. That's it. It's 1 inch thick. Comes in a giant roll. I cut it to the size. I posted a link, but it's probably expired, so I'll probably have to go find a new one for you. But that's not a big deal because I just ordered a whole bunch more. So, not a big deal. I can just go to it right here. It's like at the top of my order list, you know. It was $41.95 for 2 feet wide by 6 feet long pack of 2. So it's a fair bit. $40 and $2 plus whatever the tax was. Dag nabbit, but shipping was free, so who cares? I wonder if we could track it. Let's see where it's at. Let's track the package. That could be considered a little bit weird. Ooh, tracking ID. Where was it? Oh, it's coming out of Ohio. Then it's in Illinois. Last time it was checked in, it's in Illinois still. Hodgkins. Oh, it's just been sitting in Hodgkins, Illinois. Maybe it's going to catch an airplane from Hodgkins. Come on, Illinois. Girls, Illinois. And get wild, wild, wild. Right? Isn't that how that goes? I don't think that's how that goes. Chicken Joe, have you ever experienced a circulation pump spinning backwards instead of blowing out? It sucks in. On any ideas how to fix this? Yes, I have definitely had that happen. It is nonsense. It has reversed its polarization. And you have to unplug it. And I forget what the other step is. Take the magnet out, unplug it, pull the impeller apart, and put it back together and plug it back in. And that should do it. That should reset the polarization. It's somehow the electricity has polarized the other direction with the magnets, and it's going the wrong direction. So unplug it, pull the whole pump apart, take the impeller out, the magnets, all that, pull all the guts out, clean it off while it's out, put it all back together, screw it all back together, and fire it back up, and it should do it. If that doesn't do it, then I don't know what's going on with that pump. It could be the controller unit, though, too. If it's the controller unit, maybe just order a new one. I don't know. I mean, considering, like, it's like $70. I mean, I get it. Like, not everybody just has $70 lying around. I mean, I don't. I don't want to spend $70. But, you know, if I'm taking into consideration, like, things could be dying, things could be going not well for critters that are relying on me, then maybe I would just same day a $70 pump or a $50 pump, or maybe I get a cheap one like what's this Upet tools. Upa tools? Upa tools? I don't know. Here's one that's like a different one. This one's a fountain pump. Kind of interested, and maybe I might want to try this fountain pump someday. Maybe someday. It looks fancy and expensive. I don't think I'll ever be trying fancy and expensive pumps, even though I have to admit, I'm like, wow, look at that fancy, expensive pump. It's blowing my mind. And I'm like, don't spend money. 10-4, we'll try that. Okay, cool. Angry React was rescaping my betta tank when I looked back at the screen for a second to see Joel was wearing a filter pad. Nice look. Might try it out for myself one day. I do recommend it. It was comfortable. And was entertaining. Sayurasem. I don't know. Hope I'm saying that right. My Pinnatifida almost reached the water surface in my tank. Should I let it grow above the water? Absolutely not. Trim that down. I mean, if you want to grow some immersed Pinnatifida, grow that separately in a different spot. Trim the tops off and grow them emergent somewhere else. I'm not saying all the time, but let's say 7 times out of 10, you take a plant and it grows up above the water line, you will encounter problems with your with the display portion where you're hoping it just stays fancy and looks nice and everything, and then, oh, wait a minute, all the leaves down here underneath just died off because now it's growing emergent up above the water line, and it's like, I like it up here way better. I'm going to grow a bunch of leaves and stuff up above here. And then you're like, you look into your water box, and you're like, there's just these like nar stems growing up to the top. So trim it down, keep it trimmed. With Pinnatifida, blast a little more direct light at it, and it will kind of grow a little more compressed. I'm not saying that will happen all the time, but it's a good chance that you'll be going that way. Let's see. Let's scroll back up. Let's see if we can't get somebody else here. Evan Bombboy says, missed you at Aquashella. I was not at Aquashella. I stayed home and saved money because, I mean, realistically, with certain things like trying to build a makerspace on the horizon, spending $2,000 or $2,500 to go to Aquashella was just didn't seem like a good idea. I got a new baby. I got a lot of projects going on, and I'm sort of just pushing and shoestring budget everything I can possibly together. And if I was to spend all that money, it would not. That would just put us back a couple months. So I did not go to Aquashella. It looks like everybody had a great time, though, so why not? I'll put it this way. Aquashella didn't offer to cover any of my costs for me to go. So that's where I'm at now. I feel like that's the level I'm at now. Personally, I don't feel like I'm a giant YouTuber. I don't feel like I'm a giant important person or anything like that. But I've gone to enough conventions out of pocket that I know how much money is going to get spent, and I know what the return is for the community on YouTube here, and it's not that much, you know. What's her name? A gamer's wife. A gamer's wife posted a video today. If you wanted to see a really good video from Aquashella, a gamer's wife posted one today. It was really good, or yesterday or something. I don't know when she posted it, but I saw it today, or I listened to it today. Really good video to give you guys a real impression on how Aquashella was. And had I spent $2,000, I probably would have hoped to make a video that good. But guess what? I didn't, and that video exists. So there you go. Go watch that one, and you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like, it wouldn't have been a lot of cool videos and explanations and stuff like that. And something like the Makerspace would be put back a couple of months because I would have spent all that money flying down to Texas and staying at a hotel, which I'm not a huge fan of staying at a hotel. I mean, it's cool because you don't have to like clean up the joint or nothing, and you can take as many showers as you want, and you can kind of hang out and that kind of stuff. But when I go to conventions, it means I work like 15, 16-hour days because you get up, you go to stuff, you go to meetings, you go to meet with vendors, then the show opens, and you're there for like 10 hours meeting with people. Then you like go out to dinner and all that kind of stuff, and you go back to the hotel and you go to sleep. And then you get up and you do it again. So it's fine. I would love to do it, but just the out-of-pocket expense and the return for the fans and the YouTube community is like, that's already being handled by people that are better at making videos than I am. So, it's all good. Barbara Jackson says, if you like stuff out of the water, Red Lotus has amazing flows that stick above the water and smell wonderful. Oh, amazing flowers that stick above the water and smell wonderful, but all leaves at the top and nothing but stems below. That is a good point. Red Lotus definitely does that. Anubias will do that a little bit. You don't. I'll put it this way. If you want something that's to grow immersed, grow some emergent plants. Like do that and then do non-emergent plants otherwise, because you could do you're gonna get really lost in the focus of what you're doing with your tank and stuff like that. Consider building something like a paludarium that's like half full, and you can grow a bunch of emergent plants inside there. You have some really cool fish and stuff. Like that's what I would do if I was gonna build wanted some plants to grow above the water line. Build a paludarium. It'll be cool. It'll be probably everybody's favorite setup that you do, and everybody will be super duper excited. Paul Jones says, that's why you come to Florida and stay at Casa Jones, a.k.a. the Fish House. That's right. I am trying to get to Florida, and it's looking like I might just spend airfare to get to Florida. That might work out really well because I'm trying to do some tours, go down to Florida, do some farm tours, some fish tours, probably catch some fish, try to see how many fish keepers places I could get to, film a whole ton, and not be super distracted by having to go to a convention at the same time. So if I'm going to do a trip, that's how I'm going to do a trip from here on out. I want it to be filming, come home, and go about it that way. I'm happy to go to conventions, but I don't think I should be spending production budget money on something that doesn't need to be produced by me. You know what I mean? It'd be like me taking like $10,000 and try and make The Godfather, right? You know what I mean? Like there's no Al Pacino. Like I'm going to try and make the Godfather with no Al Pacino, with like home cameras, and try and just reproduce my own version of The Godfather, right? With the most shoestringy budget ever, right? And I don't know that that's I don't know that that's a great deal. I don't know that would be a great deal for anybody. It might be really funny, but I think if I was going to go into making something that was going to be funny, although that's not a bad pretense, like make a comedy version of The Godfather, that might be pretty funny, but it would just be terrible, ACR Fish, Shrimp, and Things. I can listen to the old shows at work with YouTube Premium, but the actual live ones won't connect. Catch it on the flip side. Yeah, I don't know why that is. I've been hearing that from people recently, and I don't know why that's the case. Clay Hodges says, I'll take you fish collecting in Florida plants too. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Florida is going to be a really cool spot to be able to go to. A lot of exciting places, cool people to go with, and a bunch of stuff to do. If I can stay at Paul's house and just crash out there, and we can go like tour around and have fun and film stuff and be like, hey, Paul, just turn this camera on and point it at stuff. It's all good. That kind of stuff. Then I think, we could get to a deal. Now, Joel Gillett says to sign him up for the Budget Godfather, he'll act for free. I believe you. I 100% believe you, and I think we'll We'll fall. Yeah, we'll do that someday. 100%. Hold on a second here. We've got. Oh my gosh. You guys know me. I'm not a big one to freak out when people when people bring it large, but Grassy Peak going producer style on us and taking their pledge on Patreon from all the way up to the producer credit. Well, hats off to you, Grassy Peak. That's awesome. Thank you. That's 3 of the 5 producer spots getting filled up. Whoa. So you got to think about Fishy Mailman, Grassy Peak, and Preston John all running that producer style. That's wild. Where did my that's not the right. Hold on. There we go. Let's see. Hold on. Reload. Well, I don't know. It went down. So I don't know. What do I know? Is it broken? How's this? What is going on? Oh, okay. I was confused. My confusion was backwards. Okay. Sorry about that. I got that whole thing backwards. But thanks, Grassy Peak, for the producer action. Mad props. Props. Let's see. If I ever make it to Seattle and the greater Seattle area, we have to do a Godfather scene now. Yeah, I would love to do that. We would definitely do that for sure. KP Aquariums. I inherited a fish a couple years ago. It's a rainbow cichlid, probably pushing 8 years. Recently, he developed what appears to be a tumor in his mouth. He's eating, but have you ever seen this? Yeah, I've seen tumors and stuff like that, and yeah, I'm not jealous of that situation because I'm not jealous of that situation because that is rough. It normally requires some kind of what do you call it? Surgery. And I don't think I'd be able to pull that off. It's a little bit rough. All right. So we got that loaded. All right, guys. I think we're going to be the end of the day. I'm getting tired, and it's super hot in here. I don't know why it's super hot in here, but I'm going to go figure out what's going on with my thermostat because it's just super heated up in here, and I hope everybody has a continued fantastic day out there. I'm going to give myself a second here to say thank you very much to Caroline Epler, Daryl Deemer, Jessica Thiegartner, and the Fish Tank Barn, Boston, Maine Mike, and Kitchen Aquatics, all for your super chats. Robert the Butcher coming in. That's our one new member today. We got one new member. That puts us up to 70, man. So we're going to be doing a members-only stream here fairly soon. We're the only people that get to chat and stuff like that are members only. And I will be doing some more members-only community posts in the future. But for right now, we're doing great. I appreciate all you guys contributing, hitting the like button. Hit that like button. You know, that's the best thing you could do. I always tell people to like share it out, but it's weird to share something that's this long format out to like random people that don't like know very much about fish tanks or whatever. They're like, I don't want to listen to this guy yammering on for this long. But you know, go ahead and hit that like button for sure. Because that's an easy way to do it. All you have to do is just go doot and hit the like button, and then next thing you know, it's just like, hey, you like this. So I hope everybody has a fantastic Monday. Stay cool out there, and you know, whatnot. Hopefully this helped. Later.